So whether you're aware of it or not, we've entered an entirely new era of business, and today I'm going to talk about exactly how you can start taking advantage of it. There are endless businesses out there making hundreds of thousands of dollars every single month, providing a service that they aren't even fulfilling. This is what we call service arbitrage. And so if you've ever hired a freelancer from Upwork, Fiverr, or even freelancer.com, then you've likely been a victim of this, because 9 times out of 10, the person that you actually hired to fulfill the service wasn't the one that actually did the work. So let me give you an example. Let's say we've got ourselves 2 companies. We've got ourselves company A and company B. Now, company A wants to outsource their marketing services to a third-party company. So what they do is they approach company B. Now, company B prices their services at $1,500 every single month in exchange for managing YouTube ads campaigns. Now, company B finds a freelancer abroad who's willing to fulfill the work for $400 a month, and company B keeps the difference. Now, you just rinse and repeat that for 100 clients, and you've just built yourself a 7-figure agency business. And this concept can be applied to literally anything. It doesn't just have to be marketing. It can be video editing, it can be copywriting, it can be graphic design, it can even be web creation. As long as it's providing some sort of value to businesses, it is something that you can provide as a service and therefore build an agency business out of. And I assure you, there are so many businesses, some of them owned by even teenagers, who are making $15,000, $20,000, even $50,000 every single month doing this service arbitrage technique. And this is why this is an absolutely brilliant side hustle to start today. You're going to have very healthy margins when you're working with clients, and you require 0 startup capital and 0 prior experience to actually get started. And all you need to do is take 5 steps to start your own agency. First is deciding on a service that you're going to offer. The second is then choosing a target market that you want to focus on. The third is sourcing a specialist who's actually going to fulfill the work on behalf of your clients. The fourth is then structuring an irresistible offer that's very hard to say no to. And then the fifth is actually finding your clients. So today I'll go through each and every one of these steps so you have everything you need to start your own agency. I'm going to focus more so on how to build your own marketing agency, and even give you a little insight into my experience and how I built my own agency, which signed 12 clients within the first 45 days. Okay, so assuming you're starting completely from scratch, the first stage is deciding on a service that you want to offer. And at this stage, there are thousands of different options you can select. It doesn't just have to be marketing services. It could be anything that you believe you are interested in or you have some experience in, and something that you know is going to provide value to businesses. So here is where I would say you should self-reflect. Think about what skills you have, what experience you have. Have you ever done video editing before? Have you ever ran ads on Facebook or possibly TikTok before? And the reason for this is because if you have any experience in any of these fields, or you have some deep interest, I definitely recommend running with that, because it's going to set you ahead of all the competitors who only selected it because they thought there was some money in it, rather than having any experience or interest in the field. So my agency personally offers Facebook and Instagram marketing. And the reason I chose to offer that as a service is because I have experience in it. So I've spent many years working on my own e-commerce stores, from Shopify dropshipping to print on demand, private labeling, and even Amazon FBA. And during that experience, I had to learn different tactics to drive healthy traffic to my own store using Facebook and Instagram marketing. And that's why, because of that experience that I built during those years, I decided that I can offer that service to businesses and provide value in many ways. So therefore, your decision should really be based on whether you have experience or an interest in a service, and whether that service is something that companies stand to benefit from. Okay, so the next step is niching down and choosing exactly what type of businesses that you want to target. So when I started my marketing agency, my target demographic was kitchen remodelers that were based in the United Kingdom. So the reason I selected kitchen remodelers is because I knew with my Facebook ad skills, I could craft good enough creatives that were definitely going to generate leads through the campaigns I would launch for them. So if I could get them enough leads every single month, if only 2 or 3 of them converted to sales for the business, then that would be tens of thousands in revenue for the kitchen remodelers, because kitchen installations and kitchen purchasing is definitely not cheap. So therefore, the math made complete sense in my mind, and I knew that I could be really well compensated if I did the job well for these businesses. Now, later down the line, I started working with various different e-commerce brands and e-commerce stores, but that's a story for another day. In your case, I would definitely say be as specific with your niche as possible, for 2 reasons. Reason number 1 is you'll begin understanding that niche in a lot more detail the more you work with them. You'll begin to understand that business really well, and with that knowledge, it will become easier for you to sign new clients in that space. And the second reason is it will become a lot easier for you to onboard new clients as you go along, because you'll be able to develop a plug-and-play system for new clients in that space. And so being as specific as you can as early as possible is definitely a good thing, but I wouldn't overcomplicate this part. As long as you have a broad enough idea on who to target, as you begin operating, you'll naturally begin to niche down more specifically because you'll see what is working best. So when I signed my first few clients, I was the one personally trying to fulfill the service, and I highly advise against doing this. It wasn't long before I accepted that spending most of my time fulfilling the service for these clients was taking time away from me being able to find new clients and signing new clients. And that's where all your focus should be going when you start your agency. And so in order for you to focus solely on bringing in new clients, you need to hire a specialist who's going to be a part of the business, and that person is going to be the specialist that fulfills the service on behalf of your clients. So in this case, let's say we want to offer YouTube marketing services. So what we do is we'll go to Upwork.com, we'll post ourselves a job explaining exactly what it is we're looking for. And I'll have a template down below that you can copy and paste so you can write a very professional job description post and make sure everything that you need to include is included. And then after you post, within 48 hours, you'll have numerous different candidates. So go through each of their profiles, see the ones that have the most accolades and clearly have the most experience, and then interview a bunch of them and then decide on the best fit for your company. And so at this point, after you've had your interview with the specialist/media buyer, you want to agree on a fixed price per client that you're going to pay them. Now, in order for you to know what the best fixed price to pay them is, you need to structure your pricing that you're going to offer clients, which we'll go through in the next section. And so now at this point, what we've done is we've picked our service, we've picked our niche, we've found the specialist who's going to fulfill the service on our behalf. And now all we need to do is structure an irresistible offer that's very hard for clients to say no to. And this, in my opinion, is where I think a lot of people go wrong, because they just simply don't break down the math. The pricing you give should be very specific to your niche, and more specific than that, your client. You need to try and measure out the potential impact that you're going to have to these businesses before you can structure your pricing. Okay, so let's talk about the home improvement niche, for example. I personally have signed many kitchen remodelers, and I can tell you that kitchens range anywhere from $8,000 to $35,000 in retail price, depending on the kitchen selected. And so based on that, let's say we're running YouTube ads to get these companies leads through the door. If we could just get them 2 extra clients every single month, that's an extra $16,000 to $70,000 in revenue generated for that business from our services. And so now that we've broken down the math, suddenly charging them $2,500 every single month for our services doesn't seem too unreasonable. However, if we were working with an aesthetic clinic and we were trying to generate them leads for Botox treatments, which on average is about £190, and let's say we were getting them 10 extra new bookings every month, then we've generated them an extra £1,900 in revenue from working with us. And so knowing the numbers there, it becomes a bit more unrealistic to be able to charge the same amount that we were charging to kitchen remodelers, which was £2,500. If we were charging the clinic £2,500 a month, they wouldn't be making a profit. And number one rule of this business is you want to make sure that your services are providing enough value for them to be profitable by working with you. Otherwise, you won't retain any clients. So in order to do proper calculations, you need to anticipate 2 things. And the first thing is cost per lead. And this is where you can leverage your media buyer. I definitely speak to them and have a conversation about what is a realistic cost per lead that is achievable in the space that you're in. The second thing you need to anticipate is how much your clients are likely going to allocate to ad spend. Remember, ad spend is how much they allocate to ads and is not including your fee. Okay, so let's take an example. Let's say you've spoken to your media buyer and he's anticipating that he's likely able to achieve a cost per lead of around £12 in the kitchen remodeling space. And let's also say that when you speak to clients, you are planning to advise them to spend £500 every single month in ads. And in this case, you're going to be generating them an extra 41 leads in ads every single month. And if they just have a 5% conversion rate from leads to paying customer, then you're going to be getting them 2 extra paying clients every single month. So make sure you take some time to do this section correctly, because I see a lot of agency owners doing this part really wrong. For example, I knew someone who was trying to charge gyms £2,000 every single month in exchange for marketing services. And when the gym is offering a £50 membership to its customers, it just doesn't make sense, because that means that the agency would have to get them 40 paying clients every single month just to break even. And it's just not realistic and not sustainable. So now that we know our pricing, we need to spice things up a little bit more to make sure our offer is actually appealing. Because I assure you, if you go to any business and guarantee that you're going to increase their sales revenue by £30,000 to £50,000, they will happily pay you £2,500 a month. But the real challenge is getting them to trust that you're going to make that impact before they start working with you. And frankly, to be honest, they have no reason to trust you in the first place. So this is the part where you need to be a bit smart to lure them in. And this is why you need to craft an offer that's really hard to say no to. And nobody can tell you exactly what offer you should make for your business, but what I can do is I can give you some examples of what has worked for me in the past, and you can take the concepts and apply it to your business. The first is a conditional payment structure, which means that you'll only get paid for the first month if you hit a quota of X number of sales or X number of clients for the business. Now, this is a bold offer and will definitely get you through the door to speak with a lot of clients who are interested, but you need to speak to your media buyer to make sure that the quota you offer to these companies is something that you are both confident that you can fulfill. Now, the other option is just flat out offering a 1-month free trial to them to test out your service. And if they're happy, then they can proceed for a payment in the second month. Now, this one's a little riskier and a lot more bold, but I assure you that this one will help you sign your first client really fast. So if you do decide to go with this offer, unless you want to make a net loss in your first month, you have to get your media buyer to agree to this offer. Otherwise, you'll end up paying him or her in the first month of their services, and you won't be getting any money from your client. But you can see how appealing these offers are because you're approaching these businesses and offering to scale their sales with digital marketing, and they only pay you if it works in their favor. So it's a little risk for them, and if it does work out, then the only money they really lose is ad spend. And for the potential upside and the potential gain that they stand to achieve from this, it's a very little risk for them. Okay, so by this point, you've done all of the essentials, and all you need to do now is actually find clients. And really, if you plan to grow a successful agency, this is the stage that should take up all of your time, because how you approach this stage is going to be the key to how successful your business is. Now, there's absolutely hundreds of different client outreach methods, but in my opinion, the two most effective is cold calling and using Upwork.com. Now, if you're one of those people that think cold calling doesn't work anymore, I can't tell you how wrong you are. Not only did I sign my first 12 clients in 6 weeks using cold calling, but I also know multiple other agency owners who have signed so many clients using cold calls and still do it to this very day in multiple different niches. And really, cold calling is only bad if you approach it in a really bad way. Hello sir, I'm calling you because I'm looking to offer you marketing services. That will never work. But if you approach it with a very good opening, a very strong offer, and some sales confidence, I promise you it's only a matter of time before you sign clients from cold calling. But you need a bit of courage to do this, and you need to be okay with rejection, because it may take you your first 100 dials before you get that one interested client, and you're going to embarrass yourself and you're going to feel a bit stupid, but you're going to have to get through that if you want to sign clients. Now, cold calling will definitely test your resilience, and I definitely think it's the one worth starting with, because if you can hop on a call to somebody who you've never spoken to before and convince them to jump on a sales call with you to discuss your services further, I promise you that that is a skill that is worth having for years to come. So if you want to start off with cold calling, then you can do it exactly how I did it. Just hop on Google and search for companies in your niche, in your local area, and just start dialing. So let's say you're testing medical spas. The first thing you want to do is write a script, then hop onto Google and type in medical spas near me and dial the first 5 that come up and read out that script. You will likely suck when you start. In fact, you will definitely suck when you start, but I promise you, if you endure it long enough, you will begin to be really good at this. And again, this is a skill worth learning. So this is why I advise you to do at least 100 cold calls before giving up with this channel, because your first 50 will be absolutely awful. The second 50, you'll start getting a lot better. But after your first 100, I promise you, you'll develop that rhythm where you'll be getting really good at this. And that's where you begin to be perceived a lot more confidently on the phone. And that's when you start to sign clients. So when I would dial up kitchen remodelers, the first thing I would ask them is if they had any more capacity to take on new clients who are looking to install new kitchens. And then following that, I'd explain that I personally have a pipeline of clients that I can refer over to their business. And I was just wondering if they were interested in talking about that further. And from that point on, using that opening, I would have their attention and they would at least hear out what I had to say. Then as the cold call went on, I would encourage them to hop on a sales call with me to find out more information. And at the peak of my cold calling days, I was dialing at least 50 companies every single day. And when I'd convince enough people to hop on sales calls, I always had a very high closing rate because I had a very good offer and a very well-structured sales call. I would have slides prepared so I can go through them and explain a lot more about the services that were filled with value that I would offer their company. Now, your other option is to use Upwork.com. Now, this is also effective, but it's slightly different. So although it's effective in signing clients, what will end up happening is you'll have multiple clients in multiple different niches. And trust me, I know because I have been there. So when I was focusing primarily on Upwork.com, I ended up signing clients in so many different niches. I worked with clients that were tuition companies, I worked with resorts, I even worked with some dropshipping stores. Now, the benefit of Upwork.com is it's not cold outreach, and that is a major benefit. These are companies who are already on the hunt, looking for services that you already provide, so it can be a lot easier to close them. And that's really it, guys. I mean, once you've entered the client outreach stage, you want to keep pushing and you want to stay there for as long as possible, because day in and day out, if you're constantly reaching out to new clients, I promise you it is only a matter of time before you sign your first. And it only takes about 10 to 15 clients to be making a serious amount of money. And I assure you, this business model is completely age friendly. I personally have met 16-year-olds who are turning over 15 to 20,000 every single month with their agency business. This is absolutely achievable if you put in the work. Don't convince yourself that this is an oversaturated market. There are businesses being created every single day looking for the services that you offer. I hope you found some value in this video, guys, and until next time.